listen to the spirit box. I've got the spirits on the spirit box going, lady, stop, please go.
Yeah.
Warning, leave, please go.
Welcome back to Paranormal Geek. My name is Maria. This is, I don't know if you can even hear me. Wait, this setup is terrible. Try it again.
Right.
Welcome back, you guys. Thank you for coming back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria. This is Paranormal Geek. Welcome to the place where the truth can be stranger than fiction. Here today as our special guest is Peta from Ethereal Sisters Paranormal and Jane from Shadows Paranormal. Both are investigators. Peta has been into the paranormal ever since she had a negative attachment at 15. Now Peta is developing her medium abilities and putting them to the test on every investigation. Jane is an Australian-based solo paranormal investigator. Her journey into the world of the ghost hunting began back in 2006. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming, guys.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
I'm glad you guys are here. We were just mentioning, we were talking behind the scenes about like YouTube algorithms and stuff, and I noticed how quickly you've been getting big. Like from the last time we talked, I think you were 300 something. I might be wrong, and now you're like almost to 700. Like that's pretty big.
Yeah, it was after I was featured on Spokes for a partial shadow figure that we caught on a static cam. So yeah, we just gained more subscribers from there, and it's just kind of a bit stationary at the moment, but yeah, I think just getting content out every single week and everything is all good. So, and yeah, it's important. Helps the algorithm push your channel out a bit further.
Yeah, I've noticed that because not that I got lazy, but I stopped for like a week or two just to take a break. And I noticed that big time, that from every week I was getting maybe 1 or 2 subscriptions, and then it stopped and it started going back negative.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I gotta keep going. So I realized I'm learning with them. This is different from when I used to do the older videos. If you stop, it's like goodbye.
Well, I mean, Jane said to me before, and she said it to Sean, like YouTube and social media does not stop when we need, time off for personal reasons or whatever it may be. And you just got to keep freaking hustling and pushing yourself like every single day. It's exhausting, but
yeah, I'm trying to get the hang of it. I'm trying to do like backup videos because I used to watch somebody that would do like a whole. They confessed they would do like 1 or 2, 3 videos in one day and just have the backups so it kept going by itself. I'm trying to do that. Let's see.
Well, see, that's like being in the paranormal and investigating. You've got, for our channel, 20 to 30 hours of just static cam footage, and then you've got the actual investigation, which might go for an entire night, it might go for 2 nights. So you've got a lot of footage to like go through. So, the editing process for investigating is, like on a scale up here, it's not so easy to just
days. It's anywhere, it can be anywhere from, a day through to 7 days. It's not, and you've got 1 to 2 nights of investigating. It's not like, we can't just pump content after content after content. 1 video a week is the only achievable goal. Unless we took time out to go and investigate, and do 2, 3, 5 investigations a week to get that backup content. But then, of course,
you've got the footage
and the editing, then our YouTube's going to be put in a holding pattern, which happened with mine because I didn't have, any active locations back at home, hence why I'm now here in Perth. And my YouTube channel did become affected because of that, and hence why, yeah, I'm still at 250 subs after, you know, more than 6 months of pushing so hard for my channel to go somewhere.
Yeah. and I mean, it can be quite disheartening, and you know, Jane and I have been going through our ebbs and flows, but I think for us, while Jane's been here, because you came over 1st of February, you know, we're never really in a slump at the same time. So we have each other to, you know, just give them a kick, and it's like, no, you're good. Just
keep
keep
each other
going.
up. Which has been really important
going.
because, when, you know, I was back home, I was doing it all by myself, and it was really hard because I didn't have anyone to sort of keep, you know.
Yeah, I know how that feeling goes.
It is very hard, you know.
That's why if I wouldn't, I stopped like years ago, and I should have just kept going. But it's because not that I didn't take it seriously, but I didn't see outcome really, really quickly. And if you don't have the patience, you just like and
if you don't have that solid support system, you know, or you know, you're not getting like, you know, you don't have that solid community behind you, which I'm thankful, you know, we do. It is hard to keep going, you know, you keep pushing, and if you're not, you know, it's not that I expect huge reward, but if, you know, you're just not seeing it in a consistent way, then, you know, it is hard to keep going. You're like, you know.
I know.
And too, like with, you know, editing investigations, you know, like we're looking for things, we're, you know, trying to hear for any EVPs or anything like that. And so, you know, unless we go and film, you know, say a shorter, like more raw cut investigation, which, you know, we both put up in the last few weeks, you know, that's so much easier to edit. But, you know, for indoor locations, it's just, you've got to be, your eyes have to be all over the screen and listening, and bloody subtitles for spirit box sessions.
I've tried that, and it's kind of like, well, you know what, you guys figure it out. Can you hear it? Just write it down in the comments. That's what I
know. Like, you know, it's you know, it's finding a balance, but it's a tricky one.
Speaking of indoor investigations, I got a chance to watch your investigation at the Postmaster. It was creepy, by the way. What was your favorite part of the investigation?
Oh my gosh. When we're standing in that, you know, short little hallway, and, you know, I'm surrounded, you know, I get like, I can feel something's just touched me, and then I'm just like, hang on a sec, something just touched me. Is there a spider web? And it was funny because, you know, like this energy was basically surrounding me, but it was, you know, affecting just one arm. So the hairs on, you know, my left arm were like completely up. Like there was so much like of that static electricity type feeling. And so, you know, me constantly saying to Sean, like, no, like seriously, it's got to be a hair, like my hair, or it's going to be a spider web, like come on. But, you know, and then when we kind of switch and Sean goes to the spot that I was in, the spirit got a little bit too friendly. And was touching it appropriately. So that was, we laughed about that night for a long time, and we still laugh about it. It was just crazy active. And we only had 2 hours to film there because it's still a functioning post office. And we did it, you know, around Christmas time. So, you know, there was like freaking mail, parcel, like everything everywhere. And we were so, you know, grateful because the owner, she just
that's so cool,
went and waited in the car out the back. And I mean, just for 2 hours of investigating, I was just like, far out. Like I've gotten more in this 2 hours than I have in, you know, an entire night's worth of investigating. So great if it works like that all the time, because then we could just be like, awesome, cool, we've got enough footage Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. It'd be a whole lot less exhausting. Smash it out in 2 hours. Let's go. Woo.
A whole lot less like freaking editing and putting.
No, yeah.
I was wondering too, because I was seeing you were having like trouble on the SLS. What do you call it? I forget the thing.
SLS?
Yeah. What was going on? Was it like getting glitchy with because of the activity, or?
Like we were having like a lot of like technical issues, and then we took like a 5-minute break, and I'm reloading up my SLS and I'm trying to get that going, and yeah, it was just kept closing, and like multiple screens just kept like popping up over and over and over, and I said to Sean, all right, okay, this is weird. And I checked that there was charge, there was power, everything was connected. So I said to her, look, we'll just leave it for a minute, because obviously someone doesn't want me to see them on this. So yeah,
but it's worked before for you guys, and it's just that night it was just like nope.
yeah
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I mean, I did use it after it was glitching out, but I just, we went and did, another room, and I went and grabbed it, and then it was fine. So, yeah.
That's really cool. Jane, if I may ask, I've heard, I don't know if I've been watching right from the live sessions when you guys are talking and chit-chatting. From what I understand, you investigate by yourself.
Yes.
Why do you investigate by yourself if... Like, I wish I could do it. It's not that I'm scared, but my husband would be like, "Are you crazy? You're not going to."
Okay, well, maybe I'm a little bit crazy.
No.
He's a little bit
I would do the same thing that would let me. Trust me, I love that stuff. I love the adrenaline rush.
It's a good kind of crazy.
Yeah, thank you. When I first got into investigating, I was part of a team back in, it was roughly around 06 from memory. Yeah, so I was part of a team, and we investigated for a while, and eventually, the team it wasn't working, and we had random people being invited along, and it's sort of, it was similar because it was based where I live back home, and we were running out of locations, and other various factors come into play. So we just disbanded at the time, and I went away, and life. But I always kept it as more of a hobby rather than doing it more seriously. I'd visit historic locations with my ex-husband, and I'd send him off as like the tour guide decoy, so I'd get him chatting and I'd trail behind, and I'd get there taking my photos and using my abilities sort of to tune in, and if I felt something I'd get in there and take photos. And just even back then there still wasn't a lot of the equipment like the spirit box and all the K2 meter and all the things we have now. So, I was still very much involved in investigating, just, more on that casual hobby level. Yeah, just over the last few years, and it sort of ran parallel with me developing my abilities, the call to wanting to get back to it and the drive. And then, obviously with, more channels coming onto YouTube, and like good quality channels that I knew were, doing it right and were real and get out there looking for real evidence, not out there, fudging it or faking it. I was like, I really just want to get back into this so hard. And probably about 18 months ago now, I started joining Facebook groups, and I started putting the call out asking people, is there any, teams that are looking for someone? Does someone want to join a team with me? And I was putting calls out there, and I was either getting nothing, like no replies, or I was getting, let's just say, unwanted replies.
Oh, no.
Undesirable replies. And I was like, no. That's not what I'm looking for. Sorry.
Not that type of activity.
Anyway, nothing to see here. Yep, move along. And so after a while, I kind of just gave up, and I kind of got a little bit disheartened by it all. And then I kind of was discovering that a lot of groups in my area, they're quite cliquey, and they're not, if they don't know who you are, and they're like, well, we don't know who you are. You're nobody. We don't want to know about you, or, and I was even asking about locations, and they don't want to share their locations. And it's like, no, that's ours. You can't have it. And I was kind of like, okay, well, fair enough. So I kind of just gave up, and then I got involved in our community, via, the live stream chats and the channels. And I was like seeing everyone, our fellow investigators now, our friends investigating. And I'm like, a few of them started going out or started by themselves. And I was like, you know what, if they can do it, and I don't care if they're guys, why can't I do it?
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I was like, I'm a pretty strong-minded, strong-willed woman, and I'm like,
She is.
and like, I did martial arts when I was younger, so I was sort of, let's say I know how to take care of my own. And my dad was a police officer when I grew up, and so he raised me to be pretty switched on and pretty, street savvy. And so I was like, I can take care of my own, and I'm not silly, and I know how to be quite wary, and I'm safety, and I know how to sort of take precautions. And I already had some equipment, so I'm like, if I sit around waiting to try and find someone or someone to come to me, I could be waiting for the next 20 years. So I'm like, I was thinking about starting a channel for my tarot, because I'm a tarot reader as well. And I was like, I'd started it on Instagram, but it just wasn't going where I wanted, and it wasn't making me happy. And just one day I woke up and I just went, screw this, I'm going to just start this paranormal stuff. And I woke up one day, designed my logo, signed up to YouTube, and I dropped it. And that was it. And Pat from the Haunted Side got behind me, because I was already friends with him, and everyone in the community was like, wow, this is awesome, this is so cool, and they all got behind me, and everyone was really encouraging, and the rest is history. So, and I was just like, yes, I feel fear, just like any normal human being. It's fear is a necessary.
I've discovered that quite a bit.
Yeah, fear is a necessary emotion. Obviously it keeps us safe in emergency situations, or whatever. But I don't I don't succumb to it. I just push it aside. When I'm out investigating, it's all professional. I take it on as it's my job. I just need to get on with it. And obviously I let people know where I'm going, roughly what time, I'm there, I let my mum know when I'm there. And, I always make sure I've got things fully charged, all the safety equipment, whatever I need. And always, even when I'm in the investigation, I've always got one ear to what's going on around me, eyes everywhere. I always check out places, pre-investigation. I make sure I know. I was just going
to say that to you, and like checking.
I make sure I check. I go daytime, so I know the area. I don't, if it's dodgy, I will not go there. There's a place, it's actually on the Gold Coast, and I know it is a dodgy place. So I did take my brother that time, so it's obviously, so I do take precautions. So it's just one of those things. It's not from, it's not something I choose. It's just something I had to do, because it was the drive. It was like, I just didn't want to wait any longer. So it was kind of
the love for it was too much. I get that.
Exactly. It was like my passion and drive just pushed me. It wasn't something I chose. It wasn't like, I just want to be cool and do this by myself and prove a point that, ladies can do it by themselves.
Yeah. Which is what I'm doing now. So I'm basically in Jane's shoes, and I'm finding out that it is very, very difficult. Like, you've got two hands, and like James saying, if you're in an area that isn't great, you need to stay mobile. So you have freaking your backpack on, you have another bag there, and you have your camera and your lights. It's just
so it's
pepper spray.
Well, that's it. You just have to, I had to learn to be adaptable in different ways to the way, we might have invested. You might investigate as part of a group. You've got to stay light, mobile. You can't have all this fancy. I can't have an SLS when I'm investigating by myself. I can't. My rig has to be minimum. My equipment has to be minimum. Everything needs to stay on me. Just
unless it's an indoor location. And you can chuck your camera on a tripod and, just use that and move around with, say, like my SLS, which is what I'll do in the future. But, when doing outdoor places, you've got to be like...
No, it's it's been a learning experience, big learning curve. Yeah, so it's not it wasn't really something I chose to do. It was just something that I had to do if I wanted to, make this thing happen for me.
I think I would have been. I think that would have been you, Jane, if I had a break, because I did that here in Pennsylvania. I looked, took my time. I was working at no one's telling me anything.
Yeah,
but I maybe I am a little more chicken, and plus I don't have a car. If I would have had a car, like a working transportation, I probably would have been doing that too by now. But this is like this is my little taste that I could get the closest to me.
No, but that's it. You just do whatever you can do. And like I said, there are times where I am scared. It's just I try not to show it, because if I did, then I'd be like, yeah, no, I can't do this. I have to just go home and hide away in my little.
I've heard, what's crazy though, because I've heard that's not a taboo. It's like like with the Ouija board. Don't ever do it by yourself. Don't ever. Is that like a thing, or have you found?
Yeah, it's actually one of the number one rules. Is don't investigate by yourself, because one, it's a safety thing, because if you hurt yourself, there's no one to call for help. But also too, if you come under one human attack or spiritual attack, there's also no one to help you. So obviously I have to make sure I'm highly protected as far as I call in my spirit guides, because I'm quite spiritual, I'm not religious. So I always make sure I'm and I cleanse myself before I even get in my car. I cleanse my car. I'm like this crazy person with my sage in my car. Get out. But obviously that's why I always make sure I've got backup batteries and charge for my phone, and like always got my cables. I carry everything with me and making sure my phone's on charge. I don't put it in airplane mode when I record, because if I need to call and help. And I always make sure that I'm not in places where I don't have phone reception. That's something I wouldn't do, because if I need to call the police 000, here it is. I need to be able to do that, obviously, So, there's just things places and situations I wouldn't put myself in as a solo investigator, because I'm just not silly like that,
Okay, something popped in my head now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like if since you've been investigating by yourself, have you had a moment like I'm by myself and this is happening? Like, have you had one of those moments, or you haven't had?
Oh, yes. Okay, so where I was talking about the dodgy place where I took my brother, I went down for a quick I was getting short on content, and it was I forget what day it was, but we just had a big storm, and I was like, I just want to go down and do a pre-test with the spirit box in this place. And I knew it because we'd had a big storm, there wasn't going to be anyone going down there. So I went down there and I thought, okay, I'll just go down there for half an hour. And I didn't go it's a train tunnel, so I didn't go into the tunnel. I didn't, because it's a dead space as far as the SP7 spirit box. But I knew I get lots of voices in this certain area, which I call the threshold area, along the path that leads into the tunnel. So I was down there and I was running the spirit box. I knew there was no one around, felt fine. And then I was probably maybe 25 minutes in, I started just feeling a bit weird, like I felt there was someone around. Anyway, I'm running the spirit box, and because it echoes out through, off the face of the train tunnel, which is all old, I'm not sure what sort of stone it is, but it sort of echoes through the bush as well. It was hard to hear because I had my mini speaker and it was very loud. But I sort of was looking around, and I was sort of feeling a bit weird, and I was getting ready to sort of end the spirit box session, and I've turned the spirit box off, and I heard what I thought was a massive branch fall from a tree, which would make sense with the heavy rain I'd heard.
Okay.
We'd had, sorry. And I was like, what was that? Oh, that must have been a branch fell. And then so I'm looking around, and I look down the other end of where I'm on the path. It sort of continues, it's almost like a bushfire track for the bushfire brigade. And I'm looking into the darkness, and I see what looks like this shadow, like a male sort of size, walk across the track. And I'm just standing there and I'm like, was that a shadow figure or was that a shadow of an actual person? Like, this is all happening, happened so fast. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was a person. And then I thought back to a few seconds later where I heard that big, massive branch crack. And I'm like, I don't think that branch fell from the tree. I'm pretty sure they've stood on it and made it snap. And I'm like, yep, I think that was a person. And I didn't want to shine my torch because...
yeah, spotlight where you were.
Yeah, and I already had my camera light on I only had the IR light on. So I've dropped my rig, turned everything off because I didn't want them to know where I was. And I've just gone dead silent. And I'm just standing there trying to hear, if I could hear them move anymore, because I knew it was a person. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not alone here. But this is, they're probably 25 meters from me. So there was a fair distance. And so I've just sort of opened my backpack, chucked everything in, but I've kept my phone recording. Yeah, I know. I've kept my phone recording because I'm like, if anything goes down, I'm recording this. So I've started just sort of tiptoeing a few steps at a time, trying not to make any noise. And I'm in pitch darkness because I'm like, I can see better in the dark than if I've got anything lit up around me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just trying to take a few steps to see if I could hear them stepping anywhere, coming towards me or moving. And I couldn't hear anything. So I just kept doing that until I got to the track that leads back up to, the road. And so I'm just walking up. So once I hit that track, I started walking, but every few steps I'm looking behind me to make sure no one was coming. But I'm still recording. And then once I got up around the corner, I put my torch on so I could see where I was going, still looking behind me. No one followed me, thankfully. Got in my car, looked to my car. But I know that was a person. And then the weirdest thing is, upon getting home, I loaded up my footage, listened to the spirit box. I've got the spirits on the spirit box going, lady, stop, please go.
Yeah. Warning,
leave, please go. They were warning me that someone was obviously around and I needed to stop what I was doing and leave. I just couldn't hear the spirit box at the time because it was reverberating through the bush. I was just asking questions about the tunnel. Why is it haunted? Who's haunting it? Is it haunted? Because it's quite a weird place. People believe it's haunted, but I think differently. But they were telling me, warning, stop, please go, leave.
Oh my God.
It was insane. I haven't edited that footage yet. I'm going to use it as once I do the investigation, once I figure out the audio of that investigation I did of the train tunnel with my brother. I'm probably going to do it as a bonus track of my tunnel escape.
Yeah, you can do that.
Because the thing is, where I live, there's quite often homeless people that camp in the bush areas. And there was, I'd gone during the day a few days earlier and there was this old Humpty car parked on the opposite side of the road. And that night, that same car was still there. So I believe there probably was someone camped down on this other track that's just on the opposite side of where I believe they walked through, coming to see what I was doing. Was probably a homeless person that had been camping down in the bush. Me and my brother went and checked out, and you could walk through from one track to the other. One of these road tracks, you can walk through the bush. There's actually tracks all through there. So yeah, that was a bit scary.
We had a very similar experience for Sean's birthday. We went back to the Swanview Tunnel where we've been a couple of times investigated, and it was just me and Sean and her husband, and so we head out there. There was someone else who was meant to meet us, but they were unable to. And the vibe, just because it's about maybe a 1.5K walk to the tunnel, and it's quite isolated. You know, like there are like houses up on the hill, but you know, it's no one that you can just quickly like run to their front door type thing, because it's, you know, on a steep incline. And you know, I was trying to do an IG live, and you know, I had the SLS out, and you know, I kept like you know, this is at the entrance of the tunnel, and you know, this is what the place where we've always like had our EMF like just going absolutely crazy. So I've got the SLS going, and I keep getting like this massive figure come up, but as soon as it like shows, like a second later, it off it goes. So you know, I'm trying to communicate with it and ask, can you like pop up again? It, you know, just kept coming up, and it would be like it would jump from one spot to another, and it was just, yeah, it didn't even look human because of like the way it was moving and this kind of thing, and it was all really weird. So you know, I stopped the IG live and we walk further into the tunnel, and I'd like seen like a figure up ahead, and it kind of just, you know, was maybe a meter from the tunnel wall, and it just went into the wall. But whatever I was hearing, whatever I was seeing, you know, Sean or Jared weren't seeing it. So I'm just like, okay, well, let's keep going. And so we're just kind of halfway past where, you know, the middle of the tunnel is, and you know, I actually had my headphones in with my digital recorder going, so if there were any disembodied voices or footsteps or anything like that, I'd be able to hear them a lot clearer. And yeah, so I'm just, you know, I think we were doing like a spirit box session, and then Sean and Jared just like stop, and I'm like, hang on a sec, what was that? And I said, well, I didn't hear anything. And on the one with the headphones in, I didn't hear it. And they said, we just heard like footsteps. And because it's like a train track, you know, like you've got like the big rocks and things like that. So when you're walking on it, it is loud and it echoes. And, you know, it's a good like 300 meter length tunnel. And so we all just stop, and we're just listening, and we hear nothing. And I'm like, hello, like, is anyone there? And nothing. So, and then Sean had said just before they heard the footsteps, she said, oh, I'm like getting, I don't know, like a feeling of terror. She said, not from me, like I'm not feeling afraid, but for some reason I just all of a sudden I feel terror. And then, you know, like we heard these footsteps, so like that was all she had to say. I'm just like, right, let's grab our stuff, keep recording, keep the torch down at the entrance of the tunnel, because we had to go back that way. That was our only way out of the tunnel.
Oh, wow.
So we're walking further down, calling out, if someone's there, you need to, like, you know, let us know. I had, you know, 000 ready to go to call the police, and Sean had the torch, but as she's walking, it's kind of like bouncing around all the place, and I'm looking, and there's this black figure standing, you know, in, you know, dead center of the tunnel entrance. Ooh. And I'm just like, whoa, stop. And they were just like, what? And I said, Sean, can you please keep the torch still? Just point it at the entrance. She's like, sorry. And I'm like, I swear to God, like, can you not see that? There is someone standing dead center of the entrance. And they're both looking, they're like, we can't see anything. And I'm like, are you kidding me? How can you not see this? Okay. So as I'm like, you know, looking.
That would freak me out.
And like, I'm thinking, okay, you know, there's definitely a person here. But then, you know, this black figure just goes from being in the middle to the side again, where, you know, it's out of sight of, you know, the entrance now. And I said to Sean, it's moving, seriously, you guys must be able to see that. And she saw it just as it kind of went to the side of the tunnel. And yeah, and then it peeks its head around, like, and a little bit of, you know, the shoulder, you know, a good 3 or 4 times. So I'm just like, right, I've got my SLSKs, and I'm just like, right, if this is a human spirit and it's going to go down, they're going to cop my SLSKs. So we're all ready to go, you know, to have this huge big interaction. And then I said to Sean, hang on a sec, there's no way that can be a person, because to the side of the entrance you've got about maybe a foot of space, and then it's just a sheer granite wall, because this tunnel goes through just granite, like through the hill. And you know, we get closer and closer, and my heart rate was just freaking jumping out of my chest. We get up there, nothing there, see nothing, don't hear anything, but I just had this intense feeling of, we need to go, like, we've got to go now. And you know, as we're walking, you know, further out, and as the, you know, the granite, you know, starts going down, so it's more flat, and you can kind of, you know, you're out of that tunnel view. It was just like, seriously, something is around us. So like, you know, I was saying a prayer, and I heard, because I had Sean to my left, I had Jared maybe, I don't know, half a meter behind me, and I hear a male voice over my right shoulder.
If you guys have, well, we talked about your next show, Peta, that you're coming up with. What's the name of the next show, the episode you're gonna do with the sensory deprivation?
It'll be part 2 of the Demons Playground.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said next Monday. I'm gonna try to edit this so it's before that comes out.
Oh, cool.
And,
okay.
and
I'll be doing Green Hills, like, in between.
Okay.
Yeah, those. So.
And Jane, do you have like something coming up or another episode?
Yeah, on Monday I'll be releasing part of my raw footage series. I've got Highfields, so that's the pioneer village up at the back of Toowoomba, which is one of my investigations that I did while I was still at home, sitting there in the backlogs. So yeah, just to break up my content from here, so that'll be coming out Monday as well. So usually we do back-to-back premieres. So
and have a really good laugh while we're at it.
Well,
especially if it's like an investigation we've done together, we're just like cracking up and yeah.
Well, I hope to do like if hopefully everything works out, one day we'll hopefully come together and do investigation.
Oh heck yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, definitely. Getting over to the States is definitely high on the agenda. It's just when they let us out of here.
My dream, I forgot to say, that's my dream of locations is the Penn State, the asylum, because it looks so creepy. And
I'd love you know, any of those, you know, Mackey Mansion, the Winchester Mystery House, like any of the, you know, the penitentiaries, you know, any of the old asylums over there, I would just have a field day in.
Yeah,
but
you know, the 2 asylums that we've, you know, got here are not, you know, and haven't been, you know, they've been used for other things, but they're owned by, you know, huge private corporations. And so, can't get into them, can't investigate. And it's just like, you guys have got them like a McDonald's on every corner block type thing.
Yeah, it's so, like a paranormal playground.
Absolutely. We're just like, my gosh, I can just imagine like our itinerary would just be like freaking like 50 pages locations.
Like if I come for 2 weeks, I'm like literally investigating for those whole 14 days, and I will just sleep on the plane. I don't even care.
Yeah, I think I'm probably that excited too.
Not a second away. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah, I wouldn't be wasting a second.
No way.
So thank you guys for coming on. I really enjoyed it. Every time you come, I enjoy like your company and nice to meet you, Jane. The same way. So cool.
Oh, you too, Maria. Thank you.
So if you want to see Peta and Jane's, Peta and Jane's next episodes, go and check their channels out. I'll link everything below if you're watching this on YouTube. And then for the full episodes of the show from what you're watching, you could go and watch on ParaFlixx. But I'm pretty sure you'll watch the teaser. The teaser will probably be pretty big because it's a long episode. So thank you guys for coming. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was awesome.
Maria.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks. Same likewise, man. And thank you guys for watching at home. See you next time.